Alright, so we've been talking a lot about equations and working with a lot of them. Today we are going to be taking that a step further, and we're going to be talking about equations with actual problem solving and word problems. Alright, so the first is defining one variable in terms of another. So we have this problem. It says the length of a rectangle is 6 inches more than its width. The perimeter of the rectangle is 24. What is the length of the rectangle? Alright, well there's a couple key points in this problem. We're trying to find the perimeter, or we're trying to find the length, but we know the perimeter. So if you think about it, we know that the perimeter of this particular shape is 2L, 2 times the length, plus 2W. Okay? And in this case, we know the perimeter is 24. So if this was our length, and this was our length, and this was our width, and this was our width. Okay, so we have 2 lengths plus 2 widths, and that will get us 24 around it. Okay, now we have a second part to this problem. We know that the length of the rectangle is 6 inches more than its width. So we know what width is. W is just going to be our width. But we know that length is actually 6 inches more than its width. So it's actually length plus 6, or excuse me, width plus 6. Alright, so here's where the tricky part comes in. So we know what width is. Okay, we know it's just going to be W. But we know length is actually going to be W plus 6. So if we take our perimeter formula, we can actually take this and plug it into here. So we can say 2 times W plus 6 plus, and then my W just stays the same, so it would be 2W equals 24. Alright, now, if we ignore all the stuff up here, we can solve this problem. We've done it many times before. Instead of W's, we've had X's, and so on and so forth. So we're going to do the distributive property first. So we're going to say 2W plus 12 plus 2W equals 24. Okay, so we'll combine our like terms. So we have 4W plus 12 equals 24. And we'll subtract 12 from both sides. Those will go away. And now we have 4W equals 12. So our width is 3. Okay, now you need to be careful. The question, the original question says, what is the length of the rectangle? So we know the width, but we know that the length is 6 inches more. So if we were to take 3 plus 6, our actual answer is going to be 9. Alright, so our length will be 9. Okay, so it's all about finding the formula or figuring out defining variables for different things. So we knew our length was going to be the width plus 6. We knew the width was just going to be W from the information they gave in the problem above. Alright, now our next example of equations with problem solving has to do with consecutive integers. All right, and consecutive integers are integers that differ by 1. So for example, 53, 54, 1, 2, -1, -2, 25, 26. Okay, you get the point. So our problem right here is the consecutive integer problem. It's the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 147. Okay, now, and you want to find the integers. So I know I'm just going to say my first integer is x. Okay, and that's going to be my number 1, my first integer. Okay, now when you're talking about consecutive integers, you see that 53 could be x, and to get to 54, you're adding 1. So you could say x plus 1 is my second integer. Okay? So what that means is, for instance, if this was 13, well, 13 plus 1 would be 14. So those would be consecutive integers. Okay? And then since in our problem they're asking for 3, I'm going to figure out the next one. So the reason you're adding 2 is because if this was 13 and this was 14, well, the next consecutive integer, as you know, would be this, would be 15. So 13, to get to 13, from 13 to 15, we would have to add 2. Okay? So we're then talking about the sum, which means addition. So we're going to say, okay, we have x plus, well, my next integer is going to be x plus 1. And my third integer is going to be x plus 2. And all of those added up is going to be 147. All right, now this is a problem we can easily solve. So we have 1x, 2x, 3x. X plus x plus x is 3x. And then 1 plus 2 is 3 equals 147. All right, minus 3 from both sides. All right, and then we're going to get 3x equals 144. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. And 144 divided by 3 is 48. So what that is telling us is that our first integer, our first number in our 3 consecutive integers is 48. Well, if we know the first one is 48, we know the second one's going to be 49. And we know that the third one's going to be 50. All right, so our answer would be 48, 49, and 50. Okay, now if you were to go back and check that, 48 plus 49 plus 50 will equal 147. All right, so that's all I have for you today on solving with equations with word problems.